Hello everyone. There's one character on this channel that I haven't done a story about yet, and it's time to rectify that mistake. I'm of course talking about the lore master himself, Lorewalker Cho, so let's dive right into it and see what this storyteller story actually is. Let's begin, shall we? The cataclysm was behind us, and the mist around a land called Pandaria disappeared. Alliance ships transporting the White Pawn, also known as Anduin Rin, they ran aground on this mysterious new continent. Alliance troops are quickly sent after by their king to reclaim his son and secure the land, while War Chief Garrosh Hellscream is also informed about this new territory. He is not pleased that they let the Alliance get there first, so the Horde is sent after as well to paint this new continent red. But Pandaria is special, and the conflict the Horde and Alliance bring with them, it causes a whole bunch of problems. You see, the land itself is infected by something that they call the Sha. The history behind this is that when the Titans ripped Yashiraj, the old god, out of the planet, bits and pieces of this old god fell back onto the world, and the darkness seeped into the land. Fed by emotions, the Sha can manifest and take control, so the people of Pandaria, they've learned to keep that under control. The Alliance and the Horde, they don't know about this of course, they don't have that knowledge to keep it all under control, and their conflict feeds and empowers the Sha.
This is not the place to explain. In short, your own doubts have been made manifest as a consequence of your actions.
You don't understand. We're fighting a war here.
Oh, I understand perfectly. I have eyes. But Pandaria is not like whatever land you came from. It lives and breathes. You should be careful what kind of energy you bring here. Now put those weapons away.
Taran-Zhu, leader of the Shadowpen, tries to warn us that our actions will have dire consequences, but orders are orders. The Alliance is set on a mission of finding Prince Anduin while also securing the land, and along the journey they encounter the Jinyu. They turn them into allies, and they're informed about a Pandaren Lorewalker who knows the land better than anyone. Perhaps he will be able to help us to locate Anduin, so we fly out to his area, but there's no one to be found. There is a delicious brew sitting on the table though, and surely one little taste couldn't hurt, right?
200 ships at my disposal, yet the one carrying my son goes missing.
I am sorry, but I cannot go back just yet. I've decided to search for the veil.
Storm the shore and paint this new continent red!
My. Hello, stranger. Sampled my dream brew, I see. Its visions are hard to interpret. Half truth, half illusion. Who's to say which is which?
Lorewalker Cho helps us out of our dream vision, in which we saw Varian send us out on our mission, Anduin refusing to go home just yet, calming the Logash side of his father, and then we saw Garrosh shouting to paint this continent red. Cho might be able to help us find the little prince, but first he would like to know a little bit more about us.
Walk with me, and let us learn from one another. Are your people fond of gardening? That's it. Delicate cuts. Let the tree decide. Some take their knives and lop away anything that displeases them. But this would kill the entire tree, and that is not the Pandaren way. Well now, who knew such a beautiful thing was hiding here? I can see that this alliance of yours cuts with precision in order to change the world around you. Interesting. I am a lore walker, a historian of sorts for my people. My instrument is the spoken word. Sadly, my artistic talents are somewhat lacking. What would you do to decorate my wall here? Don't say a word. Allow your image to speak. We Pandaren prize beauty, and we find it all around us. In the curves of a tree, the colors of a sunrise, even in the perfect physical form of a warrior's exquisite sword work. Who is this? A prince, you say? A child? But he has had no childhood. You can see it in his eyes. I can see your people expect great things, even from your young. My errands are almost complete. Come, visit my collection of exotic birds. You may have the honor of feeding them. Here they come. Yes, yes. You see how easy it is to make friends here? Please remember that not all of your allies on Pandaria need be won over by sword point.
The birds like us, and Cho will follow their example. Now the Dream Brew that we tasted earlier, it can show us events transpiring around the land, and the Lorewalker is willing to teach us how to properly use it. First, we need to make a brand new batch, so we go out to collect some ingredients, and then we need to find a piece of inner harmony by meditating and having Cho trying to distract us.
How about this?
And finally, we can use his Dream Brew to locate Prince Anduin. The White Pawn was in a bit of trouble, but he also made some Pandaren friends, and he refuses to go home quite yet, just like the first vision had showed us. Now on the Horde side, meeting up with Lorewalker Cho is a little bit different, since naturally, they're not looking for Anduin Rin. Instead, they also end up in a conflict with the Alliance. Taran-Zhu also shows up to inform them about the Shah. They rescued enslaved Pandaren, suckered into working for the Alliance, and then they claim their base as their own. This left them with the local Hosen to deal with, and after taking care of the leader, the one and only Lorewalker Cho shows up.
Hello, stranger. You are making quite an impression with the local Hosen. I dare say they are starting to fear you. You must be one of those folk from that sky ship that crashed. I have many questions for you, but this is a terrible place to chat. Please, find me in the Cave of Words, just up the hill here, when you have time to speak. Ah, a visitor. This is an incredible time for Pandaria. The mists have parted, and we rejoin the world. You come in peace, I hope. Thanks to your actions, the Hosen fear your people. Indulge me a moment. Ah, here we are. Over 14,000 years ago, this entire land was ruled by a terrible race of warlords called the Mogu. The Mogu ruled through fear, and fear kept them in power, until the first Pandaren monks taught my people courage. Then the Mogu were overthrown. You see, those who lead through fear only stay in power, while those they govern lack courage. The Hosen are many things, but they are not cowards, not for long. If you don't wish to fight them, you must inspire them.
A wise lesson from Cho, one that the Horde will take to heart as they turn the Hosen into their allies. Before that moment though, Cho wants to have a little chat with us to get to know us just a little bit better.
I am known as a lore walker, a kind of historian for my people. As such, knowledge is my armor, and I carry a quill in place of a sword. Much of Pandaria's past is shrouded in mystery, even to us. A lore walker's sworn duty is to rediscover our history, to rend that shroud piece by piece. This demands a tireless search for ancient clues and the wisdom to interpret them. Ah, here we are.
Cho has found a method to translate the ancient stones around the Circle of Bone, but he's had trouble in the past, so he asks us to help him out. We activate the stones, a Saurok attacks us, and then we do some more talking.
Enough about Pandaren history. Let's talk about your people, traveler. I've learned a great deal already just by watching you in action. You fight with the fervor of youth, but the experience of an old veteran. Oh, you've seen a lifetime of warfare, haven't you? Ah, this is a special place. My great-grandparents called this part of the forest their home. Come, this will take only a moment. We Pandaren do not worship our ancestors, but we revere their memory and the wisdom that they have passed on to us. It was my great-grandfather who first told me the tale of the Mogu that I recently shared with you.
An interesting note is that if you look closely to one of Cho's ancestors, Lorewalker Chang to be precise, you can see that he's wearing the tabard connected to the Keepers of Time, a faction of the Bronze Dragonflight. From this, some people speculate that Cho and his relatives are somehow connected to the Bronze Dragons, and when asked during the developer Q&A, Blizzard simply said, "Only time will tell." So nothing's really confirmed, but it would be very cool. Especially if you consider that dragons can choose whatever form they want to disguise themselves as in we've seen dragons looking like humans or high elves or gnomes even. Imagine a dragon turning himself into a Pandaren. It would be freaking amazing. Regardless, that's just speculation. Now, Cho has discovered enough about us and he decides that we should be good friends. He leaves us with a little tip on how to convert the Hosen to our side, and we leave him behind to do just that. Now, the Lorewalker might regret giving that advice, because both sides, both the Alliance and the Horde, they pay no attention to the warnings about the Shah, and instead, they go about trying to secure the land, gather an army, and get ready to fight. In the meantime, Cho tries to rediscover the history of an omen left behind by the Pandaren Emperor. He thinks it's connected to our arrival and the mist disappearing, so we help him out with his mission, while also helping out the Pandaren with constructing the Jade statue. This statue is connected to the rebirth of the August Celestial called Yulan, the Jade Serpent. But as we go about, we collect jade, we do all kinds of quests, the brewing conflict between the Horde and Alliance, it reaches a boiling point.
A message must lie within. What fate did the Emperor foresee?
The emotions brought to Pandaria were like a banquet for the Shah. We empowered it enough for it to manifest in such a powerful way, unseen for years in Pandaria, and we caused quite the devastation. Many lives were lost, the Jade statue has been destroyed, so the cycle of rebirth will have to wait, and of course, we now have this massive Shah to deal with, so we go out to clean up our mess. With as many people saved as we can, with our job finished, with the Shah taken care of, the Jade Serpent advises us to leave the area for a while, since the people might not be too friendly anymore. But not to worry, there are plenty of other areas in which continue our fighting. Within Kun-lai Summit, we discovered that Nazgrim, Taylor and their crew, they've not learned from the mistakes, and they're still trying to complete their mission by defeating the other faction. We'll let them do their thing, have them turn more to Pandaren against each other, while we go out and meet up with Cho once again. This time, he wants us to follow the path taken by Emperor Shao-Hao in search of wisdom, and he invites us to come along. The trail is not easy to travel. Wisdom awaits along the way for those with an open heart, and at the top, at Seeker's Point, we find out that Cho is actually being cryptic, and he's trying to figure out what the Mogu are up to. The Mogu seem to be plundering the tombs of their old kings for relics of power, so we need to find out what exactly is going on. After a long quest chain, trying to find information, encountering some of the Zandalari trolls, we find out that they're trying to resurrect Lei Shen, the Thunder King.
Under Kun-lai thunder sleeps, the storm long spent there rests, but blood of brother kingdom keeps alive the dispossessed. By Zandalari blood he will be taken, to Zandalari voice he will awaken.
Lei Shen was once upon a time a tyrant ruler of Pandaria. He enslaved most of the races and he made allies out of the Zandalari trolls. This allegiance is why the Zandalari have come to bring back Lei Shen, since after the cataclysm they could use a place to live and Lei Shen's power could help them go back to the glory days. We can't let this happen, of course. We must stop their plans, and a blood-spattered map, it shows us that they're planning to do the resurrection just off the coast of a tiny fishing village called Zhaoqin. With all haste, we travel to this town, but the Zandalari got there first. The villagers are in need of aid, so we help them by getting them weapons, we teach them how to fight, we fight ourselves until finally a captured troll tells us what we need to know.
Rotten. You are too late. The remains of the Thunder King were taken to the Isle of Reckoning. We performed the ancient rites. Even now, the true Emperor of Pandaria lives and breathes once more. Woe to the Pandaren usurpers! The Mogu will rule this land again. And we Zandalari will have a new homeland.
We are already too late. The Thunder King walks the earth once more, but we can't dwell on this setback. Taking out Prophet Garrosh and his forces will send a strong message to the Thunder King. We will not be defeated. So, we travel to the Isle, we take care of the trolls, we pay respects to those whose lives were lost in the attack, and now we know what's waiting for us. When the time comes to face the Thunder King, we will be prepared. As a Lorewalker, Cho is very interested in the knowledge and history of the world. We were invited to collect scrolls scattered around Pandaria, and upon returning them, Cho would voice the story and bring it to life. That's not the only place where he showed up in search of more stories. He also guided us through Mokshan vaults, explaining the history behind the different Mogu emperors, and warning us that a powerful weapon could not be allowed to fall into the wrong hands.
An endless army of soulless abominations. I shudder to think of the violence that would erupt from such a machine. You must destroy it, here, now, before any harm can come to Pandaria. It is done then. Yet, how many of these machines are hidden beneath the earth? How much do we not know about the dark secrets of the Mogu? I fear that our war against our ancient enemies is still far from over.
The Mogu and the Zandalari trolls were still causing trouble across Pandaria, not to mention that we still had the Sha and all the trouble that caused, so we went about trying to clean up our mess that we made. We continued the Alliance and Horde war until finally the Thunder King was ready for us.
Pandaria, her hills of gold, in dark and mournful times of old, did once a hopeless horror hold. When from her sacred veil did spring, with storm and flash, a monstrous thing, his name, Lei Shen, the Thunder King. His thunder boomed across the land, and none who dared and fought could stand against the Iron Tyrant's hands. A palace grand, a walled domain, such mighty works born of his reign, built by slaves, their hearts in chains. But seasons change and tyrants die, his fury spent in times gone by. The thunder slept beneath Kun-lai.
Secure the remains, brothers.
By Zandalari hands, he has been taken. By Zandalari voice, he has awakened. Gather heroes, sound the drums. The Thunder King comes. The Thunder King comes.
Step by step, the heroes of the Alliance and Horde unlocked the Isle of Thunder, while also still fighting with each other, until Taran-Zhu told them to stop and focus on the real threat, namely the Thunder King. This mighty tyrant of old boldly challenged us, but not even he, not even his Mogu or his dark creatures and Zandalari allies, none of that were able to hold the ground against us. We prevented history from repeating itself, and with that done, we were free to focus on our own wars again. Cho used his dream brew to experience events around the world, but the more that he learns, the more confused he becomes. He is seeking Varian Rin, asking the dwarves of Idaforge for more troops to support their campaign, but they won't all support him. This leads into the Blood in the Snow scenario, in which we assisted Moira and the Dark Iron Dwarves, and we made the allegiance of the Council of Three Hammers stronger. Next up, Cho notices that Garrosh Hellscream, he has his goblins burrowing into the sacred veil of eternal blossoms. What does he hope to find there? We must find out, and so we went into the Dark Heart of Pandaria scenario, and we found out what Garrosh was looking for. Power in the form of the heart of Y'Shaarj, the same Y'Shaarj who was ripped out of the planets. Little pieces of him fell back onto the planets, and his heart was one of the biggest pieces remaining. They decided to lock the heart away, but now it's been found by Garrosh, and he has no problem utilizing it in his fight against the world. Step by step, this war chief of the Horde has been alienating the other races within his faction. He's been pissing off the Alliance for quite some time, and even had his troops slice holes in his throat. The Darkspear Troll did survive the attack. He came back to lead a rebellion against Garrosh, while the war chief gathered his forces and made ready for the siege of Orgrimmar. The heart is thirsty though, so Garrosh, despite Taran-Zhu trying to stop him, he drops the heart into the sacred waters of the Veil.
You Pandaren tried to bury your hate and your anger, but such power cannot be contained. It must be unleashed!
A time will come when you will answer for your crimes.
I answer to no one!
A massive explosion destroys most of the Veil, countless lives are lost, and the waters themselves have been corrupted. This war chief has to be stopped, but first we have to clean up the mess left behind as Lorewalker Cho joins us once again. We cleanse the corruption from Immersius, we give peace to the spirits of the fallen protectors, we prove ourselves to Nuroshen by cleansing ourselves of our pride, and just before the battle with the Shao of Pride itself, Lorewalker Cho finds Taran-Zhu.
Oh, Taran-Zhu, Cho, the outsiders. They did this. We should never have let them in. No, don't speak, friend. I will take you to the healers.
Taran-Zhu is in good hands as we continued on taking down anything in our way until the war chief himself remained. With the heart of Y'Shaarj empowering him, Garrosh proved to be quite a challenge. But the might of the world, the Alliance and Horde united, they were able to beat him. The healers were able to restore Taran-Zhu enough for him to show up at the end and suggest that instead of executing Garrosh on that spot, they should place him on trial and give him the opportunity to start the next expansion. Now by beating the crap out of Garrosh, and Garrosh in turn absorbing more and more powers from the heart of an old god, we were able to do what not even the Titans themselves were able to accomplish. We destroyed the last breath of Y'Shaarj. We cleansed Pandaria of its shack corruption, and with time, even the Veil will heal.
Dear Emperor, it is done. The darkness that you once struggled against has been purged from Pandaria forever. But the cost, such a terrible cost.
Do not despair the damage that was done here. You triumphed over the darkness I had locked away. You have shown Pandaria the power of a true hero. But the question still remains, why do we fight? I trust you have learned to fight out of fear or anger is to fight a war that never ends. Face your fears, calm your hatreds. Find peace within yourself so that you may share it with the world around you. These are the greatest treasures in life. Truly they are worth fighting for.
Thank you,
Emperor. Thank you.
Cho's adventures did not end here though. He is one of the pet battle trainers on the Timeless Isle. He shows up on the Turtle Beach within Krasnang Wilds. He is part of the tutorial for Hearthstone, as well as the legendary cards, and he even showed up during Warlords of Draenor. This Pandaren is not scared to leave his homeland behind if it means discovering more tales, so he went through the Dark Portal, and within the garrison, either the Lunarfall Inn or the Frostwolf Tavern, he offered quests to go into the Everbloom and search for evidence that the Titans themselves, that they too came to the planet of Draenor. We found precisely what he was hoping for by bringing back an overgrown artifact, and as a reward, he gave us a bag of Everbloom herbs. Time will tell if Lorewalker Cho is going to join us on more adventures in the future, but he and his Lorewalker faction, they're dedicated to finding out the history of the world, to share it with others, to learn from it, to experience it, and to make sure that the stories are not forgotten. This is the very origin of the Lorewalkers. Way back in time, 12,000 years before the opening of the Dark Portal, the Mogu still ruled Pandaria with an iron fist, but their reign was about to end. Kang, Fist of the First Dawn, after the Mogu murdered his family, left his life in ruins, he realized that the extreme cruelty of the Mogu, used toward their slaves, it was not a sign of strength. Instead, it was a symptom of their weakness. He realized that the Mogu had grown dependent on their servants. Without them, they were nothing. No slave was permitted to even touch a weapon though, so Kang taught himself how to use his body as one. He disguised his training in the form of a dance. In time, he was able to teach more this new way of fighting, and eventually, Pandaria was able to overthrow the Mogu. Kang died fighting Lao Fei, the final Mogu emperor, but he was able to bring down the emperor with him. Flushed with victory, some of the freed slaves considered seeking revenge against the surviving Mogu, butchering them as they had butchered them for millennia. Yet one of Kang's most promising students calmed their bloodlust. As the secret keeper of Pandaren history, the pupil Song had memorized many of Master Kang's philosophies and tales. Song retold Kang's stories again and again to the liberated slaves, reminded them about his commitment to true justice, not revenge. He walked from one end of the fallen empire to the other for the rest of his life, sharing Kang's wisdom and urging all creatures to find emotional balance within themselves. As Song's story spread, others began to follow in his footsteps. More and more Pandaren traveled the land, telling stories and encouraging inner peace in all they met. These Lorewalkers, as they would eventually be named, became not only skilled storytellers, but also conflict mediators, diffusing tense situations within allegories and parables that would help all sides to see reason and find a middle ground. So began a time of peace and prosperity in and around the Vale of Eternal Blossoms. Now, telling these tales was done with the best intention, right? But when listening to a story, you must always remember that a story has many different sides and many different interpretations. Just look at the difference in observation and interpretation when it comes to the end of the legendary questline in Pandaria.
Pandaren will tell this tale for generations.
It starts with a hero.
An outsider from beyond the mists.
Conquering a strange new land.
Must we use the word conquer?
Venturing into forgotten vaults.
Mantid and Mogu alike were brought low by the hero's fury.
Their power and wisdom seized for a greater glory.
When war came to Pandaria shores, our hero was ready.
A faction standard bearer, beloved by the people and feared by their foes.
Even the mighty Thunder King fell before our champion's might.
One by one, the secrets of an ancient empire were laid bare.
Yes, knowledge uncovered for the benefit of the world.
Power acquired for war and conquest.
Let us stop for a moment. What kind of hero are we talking about?
Despite experiencing the tale of the hero firsthand, both Rephion and Cho see it from different sides, for different reasons, and with different possible outcomes. Keep that in mind next time you listen to a tale told by a Lorewalker. Nothing is ever truly black and white, and sometimes we have to form our own opinions about the story presented. And that's where we'll finish up the video for today, since we've been going on for long enough. I really hope that you enjoyed the story of Lorewalker Cho. I can't believe they actually never did his story before, but it was great fun to dive a little bit deeper into his character. In the description, I've linked to a short story called The Blank Scroll. It's not directly related to Lorewalker Cho, but it does show some interesting things related to the Lorewalkers, so it might be a good read. As always, thank you very much for watching, everyone. Subscribe if you like my videos, leave a like if you enjoyed this one, and until next time, guys, see ya!